students, in this video we will see the types and the functions of root system and the leaves of a plant. So in the previous video we have studied about the various types of plants like herbs, shrubs and trees. Then we have seen the various parts of a plant. So today we will see leaves and roots. So let's start. First, let's see the leaves of a plant. So here is a diagram of a leaf and you can see various parts are labeled here. This whole blade of the leaf, this whole leaf blade is known as lamina. And you can see in between, you can take any leaf and see that in between a thick line is there. It is known as the midrib. As it is going through the middle part of the leaves, it is known as midrib. Then from this midrib, you will see some fine lines coming out of it, and these fine lines are known as veins. Then this part, in the previous video also I have explained this. So this part, small part of or stalk, you can say, stalk, which connects the leaf to the plant or to the stem or to the branch is known as petiole. The stalk which connects leaf to the plant is petiole, and the stalk which connects flower to the plant is pedicel. So you see children, if you will take different types of leaves, you will find that the design or arrangement of these veins are different in different kinds of leaves. So based on this arrangement is known as leaf venation. The arrangement of these veins on the leaf, if leaf is there, the veins will be arranged in different types. This is known as leaf venation. Leaf venation, based on this, the leaves can have two types. Okay. First one is reticulate venation. Leaves may have reticulate venation. Reticulate venation means, you can see this is an example of reticulate venation, where the veins coming out of the midrib are kind of set in a net-like design, like a spider web or a net. It is spreading everywhere. So such type of arrangement of veins is known as reticulate venation. Some of the examples you can see are the leaves of rose plant, mango plant, etc. Then the next type is parallel venation. Here you see, if this is the leaf of a plant and this is the midrib, you will find that the veins may be arranged parallel to the midrib, like in the case of grasses, or if this is the leaf, this is the midrib, may be arranged parallel like this. The veins may be arranged parallel, but they will be perpendicular to the midrib. So such type arrangement of veins, as they are parallel to each other, is known as parallel venation. This you can find in the grasses, while these you can find in the leaves of banana. So these are two examples. Grasses will have such type of parallel venation and banana will have such type of venation. You can see and observe with the help of the leaves also. Next, let's discuss the functions of leaf. The functions of leaf are mainly two, which is photosynthesis and transpiration. Let's see photosynthesis first. Photosynthesis, what is it? Photosynthesis is actually the process by which a plant prepares its food. You have to remember, this photosynthesis takes place in the leaf. Leaf, that is why, is also known as productive part of a plant, because production of leaf or preparation of food takes place in the leaf of a plant. So the most important function of the leaf is the process of photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means to make or to produce. So, to make or prepare the food, the plants require light energy. That is why I have given you one equation here. This is the equation of the process of photosynthesis. You see, for the process of photosynthesis or for plants to prepare their food, they need carbon dioxide gas and water, which is H2O. Carbon dioxide is CO2, water is H2O, and in the presence of sunlight is a must, because as we cook food in our home, we need heat either provided from the LPG gas or with the help of firewood. So what provides heat or energy for the plants to prepare their food? They use the light of sun. So carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll prepares the food to produce carbohydrate. C6H12O6 is actually the chemical formula of glucose, and glucose is a type of carbohydrate. So carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives you carbohydrate or the food of the plant with the release of oxygen gas which we inhale. That is why you have to remember that plants and animals are actually interdependent on each other, because we give carbon dioxide to the plant uses this carbon dioxide to prepare its food, and then in return it produces oxygen which we inhale for the production of energy in our body. That is why we are interdependent on each other. Now let me tell you a little about what is chlorophyll. You see, if there is a leaf, then in the leaf very tiny small green colored pigments will be there. The reason why a leaf appears green in color is nothing but chlorophyll. Chlorophylls are green colored pigments which are present on the leaves of a plant, and these pigments help in the production of the food or preparation of the food by the process of photosynthesis in the leaves of a plant. Next function of the leaves is the process of transpiration. Transpiration is nothing but loss of energy from where? From the leaves of a plant. So if this is a leaf of a plant, from here some small openings will be there. If this is a leaf of a plant, okay, very minute, which will not be visible to you with your naked eye, you have to see it with the help of a microscope. Some minute openings will be there like this. This will be the opening. Some minute openings known as stomata. Okay, from the stomata only the carbon dioxide can easily enter into the leaves, and also from the stomata the leaf loses water in the form of water vapor. This process is known as transpiration. So what is transpiration? Loss of water in the form of water vapor from the leaves of a plant. What is the necessity of this process? What is, you can say, what is the benefit of the process of transpiration? It helps mainly in two processes. Okay, let me tell you briefly. One is it helps in the absorption of water from the roots. Okay, like you can take a straw. If you will suck on it, then only the juice will rise up and reach your mouth. Like that, if these are the roots, it absorbs the water. So that is why if it wants to absorb water, then at the top the water has to lose. That is why transpiration loses water, which makes a pull force to absorb the water from the root system. This you can get in the future classes, in the further classes you will get, and you can understand then very clearly. Here you just understand that transpiration process is necessary for the absorption of water by the roots. Next is, you see, now it is summertime. So if you are feeling very hot, what happens? Don't we start to sweat? What does sweating do? The sweating reduces the temperature of our body and it keeps our body cool. So you can say it is kind of same thing for the plants. If the temperature is very high, the plants loses water in the form of transpiration and it helps to cool its temperature down. Okay. So the two functions of leaves are photosynthesis and transpiration. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is roots. So roots, we have discussed in the previous video also, roots are the parts which are under the ground. Okay, under the ground, the parts of the plant are known as root system, and roots can be of two types. What are those? They are taproot and fibrous root. Let's see first taproots. Taproot, you can see one example here, or some examples like carrot or radish. If you will remember how they look, they have a thick main root and very tiny hair-like small roots coming out from this main thick root. This thick main root is known as the taproot, and the small hair-like structures or smaller very thin roots coming out from this taproot are known as lateral roots. They are known as lateral roots. Okay. While if you will see the roots which do not have a main root, directly all the roots are spread and they all are emerging from the base of the plant, and they more or less will have same length, same thickness, and they are just spreading everywhere. They don't have a main root. Such type of roots are known as fibrous roots. So two types of roots, taproot and fibrous root. Examples you can easily find taproots. For example, turnip, carrot, they are examples of taproot which we can eat also. And fibrous root, for example, grass. If you will pull out a grass, then you will see the roots of it will be of fibrous type. Let's see functions of root. Again, the roots have mainly two functions. First one is anchoring the plant to the soil. That means the roots help the plant to anchor it. That means to hold the plant firmly so that it can stand erect. Okay. You can see easily this by doing one activity. Take a plant, cut the root, and again you can sow it or put it under the ground or in a flower pot. Then if you will pour water more or less, or with the due to the effect of harsh wind, it will fall down. It will not survive or it will not stand erect. While a plant which have strong roots under the ground, the roots hold the soil so that even due to harsh wind or rain pour, the plant doesn't fall down, it stands erect. So this is one of the function of roots. Next is absorbing water and minerals from the soil. This is one of the most important function of the roots. For the preparation of food, the plants need water and minerals. Okay. For the proper growth of the plants requires minerals, and for the production of food or preparation of food, it requires water. And where does the plant gets this to? They get it from the soil with the help of roots. The roots spread on the ground, under the ground, and it absorbs the water and minerals to the roots and provide it to the leaves for the production of food. So if no roots will be there, no absorption of water and minerals will take place, the plant will not be able to prepare its food, and ultimately in the absence or without food, the plant will die. Now you see children, there is a relationship between the type of root of a plant and its leaf venation. Okay, most of the plants have, you can see this in most of the plants. Of course, there may be some few exceptions, but if you want to know the type of root without pulling out the plant from the soil, you can easily do so with the help of observing the venation of the leaf. So what is this relationship? You see, most of the plant or leaves with reticulate venation will have taproot. Okay, you can take an example of a carrot. If carrot is there in your garden, or you can buy a carrot with few leaves on the top, easily pluck it out, or any small weeds you can take. If it has a reticulate venation, pluck it out, and more or less you will find the roots will be of taproot type. While the leaves which have parallel venation, most of the time they will have fibrous root. For this you can easily pull out grass. If you will see, the venation of the grass are parallel venation, and if you will pluck it out from the soil, you see, or you can observe, the roots will be of fibrous type. So what you can do is, you can just roam around in your garden and you can see that which type of plant has which kind of venation, and if it has reticulate venation, what type of roots it will have, and if it has parallel venation, what type of roots it will have. So easily, without looking at the roots and only at the leaves, you can find out the type of root of that plant. So here we have covered mainly two topics, leaves and roots. We have discussed about the leaf, parts of a leaf, then types or the leaves venation, functions of leaf, then we have seen roots, then types of roots, that is taproot and fibrous root, and two functions of the root. Then we have seen the relationship between the leaf venation and the root system of a plant. So in the next topic we are going to see the stems and the flowers. What are their function and all we are going to discuss. So I hope that you have understood this two topic clearly. Thank you.